Hey guys, if you haven't already, give the video a like, subscribe to my channel. This is a what if series and I'll be doing more down the road, so thank you for watching. Hey guys, and welcome to What If Goku Landed in Naruto Part 3. Now it's been a minute since we last touched upon this series, and I know I said if you guys reach 90 likes, I will release a part series. I never thought I would be releasing a part series 4 months later. That is crazy. I apologize for that. I lost track of where this series was going. Anyway, so we're back on it. And yeah, don't insult me in the comments saying, dude, you took too long making this series. Listen, it's back. Let's get into the story. I'm going to make this story very interesting for y'all since we last left off with Sakura basically defeating Gaara and the rest of all the team basically going against going to train with their teachers. Now it's something I have to basically say and basically put into there. Like Neji versus Hinata, that basically went the same. Well, very differently, as Hinata didn't get as damaged as she did in canon, but still kind of the same. Now, Rock Lee pretty much didn't have a person to fight. But I ended up thinking about putting him. I don't know why I didn't say it in the last part, but I ended up thinking about putting Rock Lee against Sai. And as far as that battle went with Sai Taijutsu and Sai skills against with Rock Lee's skills, how fast he's been training and everything, Rock Lee and Sai would have teed off when their battle. And in the midst of the battle, when it's getting hectic, Sai would have used his Super Beast scroll. Now Lee would have had a lot to deal with, and then this is where Lee would have been having a lot of trouble to deal with fighting Sai and fighting these animals. I mean, Sai came close to stabbing Lee in the neck as Lee dodged this very big, barely, and this is where he jumps up to the fingers of the statue, and he looks to Might Guy, and Might Guy gives him the okay to take the weights off. Now this is where Lee gets fast, and this catches Sai off guard, but Sai still being he was trained by Danzo, so being the skilled person he is, still seen this coming. I mean, had some kind of way to counter it. And as fast as Lee was going, he managed to get at least 2 blows on Sai before Sai caught on to his speed and started laying out maneuvers, or basically started thinking ahead of Rock Lee. Now, Rock Lee would have seen this, and this is where Rock Lee would have started opening the first gate, the second gate, and then the third gate. Now, he would then blitz Sai, and I don't think you can go as far as to argue it in the comments below. I know how skilled Sai was, but I don't think even he's fast enough to keep up with Lee when he opens the gates. And this speed was way out of Sai's control. I mean, he couldn't basically keep track on Lee as he was just a blur around him, punching him, kicking him. And I don't even think that Sai would even be able to take some of these blows. Keep in mind, in the anime, Gaara had a sand armor all over his body, so he had a protective layer of armor that was keeping him keeping him conscious or keeping him at bay from all that damage. And in the midst of that, he still took damage because he was on the ground, not barely able to get up, because he still got up due to the Jurikis and their healing factors. But you could tell that Gaara was damaged from that onslaught that Lee gave him, because he was still on the ground, and then he just managed to get back up. I don't know how, but hey, to each his own. But anyway, so as that whole battle was going out, Rock Lee ends up beating Sai just by barely, since Sai couldn't motion himself to keep up with Rock Lee, while Rock Lee ends up opening the 5th gate and then starts destroying Sai. Again, you can argue that in the comments, but I see Rock Lee winning that fight in this what if. Anyway, so we continue on with everything pretty much going the same. And not too many good fights to talk about. Now, get into where we left off in the story with Goku basically maintaining his Akari form, and that's the name I'm going to go with it. You all know what that means? Let's continue. So, Goku basically has a control over his Akari form, and Master Roshi was just looking at him, trying to figure out what kind of power this kid has had. Master Roshi would then do some kind of seals with his hand, because he noticed that Goku has a seal on, his backside, his rear side. When Master Roshi releases the seal where the seal is, his tail just poofs out. Tail just comes and grows out fully matured. And Goku will say, hey, it's my tail. I haven't seen this thing in a while. And this would immediately alert Hiruzen, where Hiruzen just body flickered from the office to where Goku was and Master Roshi. Now, Master Roshi would say, "Oh, hey, Hiruzen, how you doing?" Now, Hiruzen would look at Master Roshi and then look at Goku's tail, and he would say, I thought I sealed his tail. How did it get unsealed?" He's never going to access his full power if that thing, well, if whatever you had on him was concealing some of his power. You have to let his power flow out. The only way he can evolve and get stronger. I mean, this kid's been telling me he wants to get stronger, and I sense that that thing, well, whatever seal you guys put on him, you and whatever your summoning was, made his power be conflicted and disrupted. So I basically released the seal. If you want to, not to like transform, you have to beat that into him. I'm pretty sure at this point he knows not to look up at the moon. Don't you, Goku? Yeah, you told me if I look up at the moon, I would turn into a big, great monster. I don't want that because I don't want to hurt any of my friends. And we're going to have you where you can control that power of yours. Now, this part will be the start of the final arc of the exams, but before that, we had Goku. I'm gonna have Goku basically learning how to control if he ever has, like, ever transforms or basically can negate a full moon. When the full moon comes, he will basically be able to control his grade 8 form so that he wouldn't be able to cause damage. So Master Roshi was basically helping him, teaching him in that. And basically, the only thing, he was just going around the village learning inner peace, learning how to control his spirit, learning how to control his power, learning how to control his Akari form. So he already got a control over his Akari form. So his grade 8 form seems like a nip in the bud, because when he transforms into it, it's not going to be that much of a hassle for him. Like, he's not going to go rampaging all around the village and just start destroying stuff. That's not Goku now, because he's had the training for it, and his mental stability, well, his mental mind can basically cope with the grade 8. Now let's continue. As everyone is finishing up their exams and getting ready to go back to the final arc of the tuning exams, basically Sasuke, well, here's the bracket. We have Sakura versus Sasuke, Naruto versus Naruto versus Rock Lee, Neji versus Goku, and so on and so forth, as the other fights are irrelevant and they just basically go the same. Now we're going to first focus on the first fight. Naruto versus Rock Lee. Now, this battle would be very intense, being as Naruto, and I know I downgraded Naruto. Naruto, something I have to retcon and have to retcon good. So basically what I said was Naruto was struggling against Kiba. It wouldn't be that much of a struggle at all. Like, barely even be a struggle. I have to retcon that. I don't know why I said that he was having trouble with Kiba. Like, he wouldn't. He's been training with Hiruzen and Goku, and this man has mastered his chakra control and learned his chakra nature. Yeah, he wouldn't have had any trouble with Kiba. I mean, he would have slept Kiba. Like, he would have swept past Kiba like he was nothing. I mean, even though, and also, something I do have to retcon is that he didn't have that whole curse mark thing on his belly. I have to retcon that too, because Goku and, well, they were there. Like, he stopped that from happening. Anyway, so as all that's basically retcon and all that, Naruto and Rock Lee would be getting it in a very, very, very decent battle with each other. I mean, the speed of these two would be insane. As Naruto was training over the few months, and he's learned how to master his ki control to the point where he can use chakra speed chakra in his body to speed him basically speed up his attribute. Well, use more speed, I guess. I don't know how to word that in a way. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Anyway, so as Naruto is basically using these chakra abilities to basically enhance his speed, and he would charge at Lee, but Lee's still fast now. Lee is still fast, so he's been training for a month too and gained some new speed and basically gained some more awareness and other cautions. So now these two are going at it. They're going blow for blow, as Naruto is basically tapped into some of Kuruma's chakra, and he's using some of the Nine-Tails chakra to basically have an edge on Rock Lee. Now, Rock Lee sees this, and as Naruto's blitzing past him, he's caught up to Rock Lee's speed, and Rock Lee wonders, how is Naruto doing this? It took him years to gain this speed, and he's just doing it like, what is this? So Rock Lee instantly goes into the third gate, and he starts to like him and Naruto like body Naruto, like throw Naruto all across the area. Now Naruto is getting much angrier and angrier, and to the point Naruto's eyes turn red as he's filled with rage and like the fact that he can't keep up with Rock Lee. Now Naruto basically summons a lot of shadow clones, and I mean a lot of them. And this is where Rock Lee just looks around, and now he's having to battle each and every one of these clones coming at him, and each and every one of them are fast, hitting Rock Lee with very like thunderous blows. Now Rock Lee's doing his best to keep up with all these Narutos, basically kicking, like punching few of them away, and Rock Lee's doing the best, like a good ass job too. He's doing as best as he can, let me put it that way. With the speed and like the Naruto in his first state of whatever, the first state of the transformation, when Naruto's nails elongate and his eyes turn red and his whiskers starts to like where basically get whisker like, I guess. That's what you can say, and he grows fangs. That's the state Naruto's in. As people like are seeing this, they are seeing Naruto in his transformed state, and Naruto just looks at some of the people in the crowd and smiles as he blinks behind Lee, using the speed that he has, and throws a punch at Lee, which Lee dodges and tries to uppercut Naruto, but Naruto swiftly moves his head out the way and throws a punch at Lee, but Lee dodges his head to the right and throws a punch to Naruto's ribs, hitting him in the ribs and throwing him into a wall, creating a crater. Now Naruto basically sees this and he says, "What's with this guy? He's been training hard, haven't you? Bushy brow is no joke. I can't go easy on him." Now Naruto would get in all fours, and he would be looking at Lee as his chakra is flaring. This orange-like, fierce, like ferocious chakra is just swirling around Naruto as Naruto blitzes at Lee with all you see is just orange light shooting right past Lee. Now Lee looks behind him, but in the midst of him looking behind, he gets punched in the stomach, then punched in the face, then punched in the punched in the stomach, punched in the jaw, punched in the nose, then kicked up in the air, and then Naruto hammer fists him into the ground. Now Rock Lee is trying to keep up with Naruto, and this is when Rock Lee basically goes all out. He's going to the fifth gate. Now him and Naruto is getting in a ferocious fist for fist battle, and you can feel the air and the pressure from their fists colliding with each other. Now both of Naruto and Rock Lee are battle damaged, but both of them are enjoying this fight as if it's the best thing of their lives. They're enjoying it so much as if this is all like they're having the time of their life. Now, Naruto basically does a body flicker motion, trying to basically get the upper hand on Lee, but Lee has his taijutsu smartness, keeping up with Naruto, keeping up with Naruto's speed at this point. Now, the both of them are tired, and they're very low on chakra. Well, basically, Lee is basically getting fatigued, extra fatigued. Like, he's not going to be able to move after using the fifth gate. His body is reaching its limit fast, and I mean fast. Now, Naruto is basically using a lot of chakra, but he's still enhanced by the Nine Tails, keep in mind, as the Nine Tails is amping him right now. But basically, that chakra dispels, and the both of them are just looking at each other for one final attack. Now, Naruto and Rock Lee rush at each other, and they both instantly punch each other in the face, sort of like Sakura and Ino did, but this one sent Rock Lee flying into a wall. Naruto still had some of the QB chakra floating around his fist, so he can get that major M when he punched Rock Lee into the wall. And when Rock Lee came from the wall, he started to walk towards Naruto, trying to keep like his step, trying to keep his balance to let him know like he was still into the fight. Rock Lee didn't want to give up. He did not want to give in, but his body, it was just too fatigued as Rock Lee hit the ground. And the proctor called the match, saying, "Naruto is the winner." Naruto clenched his fist and threw it in the air, yelling out yell of victory as he managed to basically he's gotten a lot stronger. Anyway, so after that fight, Naruto goes to the stand and he sits down very happy. Now he wants to see the fight between Sakura and Sasuke. Now, I really didn't get into much of Sasuke's training. So, when Sasuke was training with Kakashi, yes, he did the whole Shindori. And he did the whole, like, learned the speed of Rock Lee. Also, Sasuke has evolved his Sharingan to a new level. See, Sasuke's Sharingan is at a 3 Tomoe. state. See, Kakashi managed to help Sasuke out with his Sharingan and trained it very, 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 very hard. Put Sasuke through some excruciating training through the 1 month. Now, Sasuke's came back and he's much more like stern, but he's still on edge about fighting Sakura. I mean, this girl has been proven to be a powerhouse, and he doesn't know where her power is coming from. And she has a weird Keke Genkai. Seems to be obsessed with the word, like obsessed with fighting strong individuals, or just basically being at the pinnacle of everybody, proving that everybody is basically cattle or weaker than her. Now, some of that might trigger these Naruto fans because I know they hate Sakura. All right, let's continue back to the story. Anyway, so Sakura would just be basically on the like sands, tapping her shoes, and basically just looking and waiting for Sasuke. As not him and Kakashi are taking a while. Sakura wonders where these two are and says if they're late, basically I win by default. That's boring. Can I just basically quit? And this is where the practice would say, wait, what? I don't like people that's late. It just makes the fight like boring. And this is where Sasuke would show up, and him and Kakashi. And this is where Sakura says, speaking of the devil, I was just getting ready to call the match, Sasuke. If you would have came here any later, then you would have won by default. It basically would have been a coward's way, but I'm basically impatient. Anyway, so are you ready? So Sasuke and Sakura would be both looking at each other. And this is where Sakura would look at Sasuke with very cold eyes. Like, I mean, she's not even in the right state of mind. Like, she's looking at Sasuke with her eyes widened in a very blank face. And she tells Sasuke, I hope you got stronger over that 1 month. I really hope that some strength has came out of what you've learned in that 1 month. Because I've gained a new power. And I want to see what you're capable of. I want to see if you can handle that power, or something better yet, if you can push me to transform into that power. Now, Sasuke has some tricks up his sleeve because he's been watching. Sasuke has been observing. His Sharingan doesn't play no games, as he's been observing the speed of Rock Lee, of Goku, of Sakura. He's been observing. Sasuke's Sharingan has been watching and evolving, learning from battles, and picking up training tactics that can make his own arsenal strong. So Sasuke tells Sakura that this is going to be one hell of a fight, and the both of them look at each other. Then they walk to their said distances and get into a fighting pose, as the practice lifts his hand into the sky, and he says, begin. Now Sasuke would charge at Sakura, with basically Sakura dodging each and every one of his fists, and Sakura would then punch Sasuke in the stomach and kick him into a wall. And she would say, that's it. You're weak. You don't have anything on you. This is where Sasuke would poof into a substitution and then would appear right behind Sakura and throw a punch so fast that Sakura basically ducked. She looked at Sasuke, but he was gone, and he was right in front of her. Punched Sakura dead in the face, and then Sakura sent tumbling back into a wall, like crashing into it, with Sasuke not letting up. Then Sasuke would punch Sakura into the stomach, making her cough up spit, grab her by the face, and just start ragdolling Sakura all over the Chunin exams tournament. Now, Sakura would be shocked by this, but this is where Sasuke would get cocky and say, what's the matter? You don't know how much I've trained this past month. I've been watching Naruto, Goku, you, and others. I've learned and I've trained hard to gain the power that you guys have. I'm nowhere near that Goku's level, but I think I can basically handle you. You don't seem to be all out of my league yet. Now, when I'm saying handle, I'm saying Sasuke's got his 3 Tomoe Sharingan active, and it's doing some wonders right now. I'm telling you now, it's doing some wonders. But basically, Sasuke's base speed been trained in his own. Well, his base speed has been trained very hard too. So Sakura sees this, and she starts to amp her power and get stronger. And now these two are getting into a fist brawl with each other. But Sakura's starting to have the overhand over Sasuke. Now, this is due to the fact that Sasuke Sharingan can't perceive how fast, he sees the attacks coming, but Sakura basically changes up her motion, and then she gets an attack in before Sasuke can counter it. Now, Sasuke is basically straining. He's putting a lot of chakra into his eyes and basically amping his chakra speed, but using his chakra to fully flow through his body as his Sharingan begins to spin. Now, Sasuke disappears and connects with Sakura's face. Sakura delivers a thunderous blow to Sasuke's stomach as the both of them go tumbling to each said direction, crashing into the debris on the ground and then flying towards the wall. As the both of them gasp for air as the impact was heavy against their back, they fall to the ground, basically panting for the air. And Sakura gets angry to the fact that this Uchiha was this Uchiha, you and your eyes, you people's eyes, you guys don't train, you just copy moves. I hate you, Uchiha. But the power behind those eyes are incredible. They're what pushed me to get stronger. They're what pushing me to gain a strength I never knew I had. Congratulations, Sasuke. You will be the first. Well, actually, everyone in this village will be the first to see my transformation. What I've achieved in 1 month. Now, Sakura would erupt in a pink aura that would shoot out from her, and she would let out this scream that everyone would have to cover their ears as the Chunin exam's ground was shaking. Now, Goku would be looking at this and he would be very, very intrigued to see what Sakura is basically finna do. As the pink energy is erupting and it encases Sakura, basically all you hear is her screams. And the people are covering their ears as Sakura's screams are loud. And all of a sudden the energy disperses. Sakura's hair is longer. And it takes a more white look. Sakura's eyes are black, with the pupils being red. Her skin is pink, with her nails being black. She seems to have a different attire, sort of like a Majin Buu attire, with the pants and the black sports bra. Sakura is then standing there with her tail out. Then she opens her eyes and looks at Sasuke. Sasuke can feel the energy from Sakura. He can feel the immense pressure from this girl. Sakura then says, "This is what my family's been pushing me towards. They've been trying to get me to use this transformation for a while. And now I finally transform. And I got to tell you," as Sakura smiles very devilishly with her eyes widened, and she says, "This power is amazing. So much so that I want more. I know it's another form. It has to be. It has to be something stronger than this." And Orochimaru was looking at Sakura because he's still in the village. The Konoha Crush thing is still finna happen. It's still in the go. So Orochimaru is looking at Sakura and he's saying that this girl craves power. She wants power. She wants destruction. He can see it in Sakura. He can see that she craves to be strong and to rise above all who are weak. Now Sakura is looking at Sasuke and she says, "You better prepare yourself, as I don't think you're basically going to keep up with me." Now Sakura blitzes right by Sasuke and kicks him dead in the chest, cracking a few of Sasuke's ribs. Now Sasuke coughs up blood as Sakura grabs him by the leg and slams him to the ground. Now you can hear Sasuke agonizing scream, but this is where Sasuke kicks Sakura off him and lands a kick through Sakura's stomach, sending her back a few meters as she says, "Wow, that kick basically did nothing. It's like I got so much stronger than you in just one transformation." Goku would be sweating, but his palms would be in fists, his hands would be in fists, and he would be so eager, he wants to fight Sakura. He wants to see what she's capable of. Now, Sakura would basically be ragdolling Sasuke all around the area, and then all of a sudden she grabbed him by the face and sent him crashing into a wall with her hands holding him up. Now, Sasuke's body went limp, and he thinks, "Is this all I can do? Is this all I am capable of? Itachi, my clan, everyone. Is this literally everything I could do?" As Sasuke's eyes start to evolve into the Mangekyo Sharingan, and Sasuke basically erupts with its purple aura and throws Sakura off of him. Now, all of a sudden, you just see this rib cage emitting 2 hands, and Sasuke's eyes basically flaring with the Mangekyo Sharingan, as he was reminiscing about his clan being slaughtered, as he basically seeing his mother's dead body and his father's dead body. He's basically having all these memories flood into him, and his chakra activated a strong twitch that caused his eyes immense pain to evolve into the Mangekyo Sharingan. Now, Sasuke's visual powers, well, powers are basically enhanced even further to the point where Sakura is saying that this kid has some abilities. Basically, pushing, like he pushed me into a corner and I evolved. I pushed him into a corner and he evolved too. So interesting as Sakura basically flexed her ki and it shot towards the sky as a pink blur basically charged at Sasuke and a red blur basically charged. The two of these individuals would get into a huge taijutsu battle with each other. Now this like the storm and the debris and the energy from these two fists colliding would be ferocious as Sasuke is using his own fist with the Susanos, well, the basically imperfect Susanoo, this rib cage with just two skeletal hands. And now Sasuke is using these two hands to basically give him an edge. And Sakura does have a speed advantage, but with Sasuke's Super Susanoo, he's basically blocking some of the damage that he would normally take that will basically be, well, game over. Now Sakura's using everything in her arsenal saying that, can you keep up with this? As she's blitzing right around Sasuke and she managed to hit Sasuke in the face, sending him flying. And Sasuke would catch and gather his bearings and send out a huge fireball jutsu that would be, well, let's say this fireball would be reddish purple. Now, this fireball would come like shooting towards Sakura as she would point her finger, well, her index finger at the beam or the fireball and say, Cherry Blossom Beam. Well, not beam. She would say Cherry Blossom Death Beam. She would shoot straight through the fireball and pierce through Sasuke's shoulder. Now, Sasuke would say, "Grr, grr," and fall to one knee. Now, Sasuke would look up at Sakura and she would say, oh, this is getting boring. Now Sakura will spit blood from her mouth and say, you've gone on long enough. You need to forfeit. This would hurt Sasuke's pride as he thinks that he's thinking in his head, she thinks she's still stronger than me. Sasuke would clench his fist, and this is where he would start pouring more chakra into his eyes, and the Susanoo would evolve into a huge skeletal figure that has a sword in its hand. Well, like a little, I don't know if that was a sword or a stick. Correct me in the comments. Let me know what it was. But whatever Sasuke used at the 5 Kage Summit when he chopped all the pillars in half and basically broke everything. But he had created that and he swings this at Sakura fast. Now, Sakura blocks and gets sent through the Chunin exams wall and starts crashing through a whole bunch of buildings. Now, Sakura would be battle damage from this and she would come flying back and throw a furious punch to Sasuke's jaw, cracking a few bones in Sasuke's face. Now Sasuke would feel the pain from this and start to bleed from the nose and the mouth, and Sakura would come with another punch, but Sasuke would deliver a huge blow to Sakura with his Susanoo hand, and then he would hit her to the ground with the stick, or whatever that thing was. Now these two battle, it would be like the third Hokage is seeing this and he's saying this is probably getting out of hand. These two might end up killing each other. Now, as Sakura is getting ready to deliver the final blow, she's getting ready to get rid of Sasuke to win this battle so she can move on. All of a sudden, the energy that she just transformed into, basically, like, Sakura goes back to her base, like her regular form, and this pinkish energy starts to erupt out of her like shock waves, and her body starts to contort and hurt. She's screaming out in pain as Sakura is not used to this transformation, and Sasuke takes this as an open opportunity to basically defeat Sakura as he charges all the energy that he can, and he says Shindori. So this is an attack, well, basically a low-level attack. He's not gonna basically use yes, he's gonna hit Sakura with a Shindori. He's not going to pierce her shoulder or anything vital. He's basically going to use it as a paralyzation. He charges at Sakura with such speed and hits her with the Shindori that sends electrical waves all throughout her body, basically paralyzing Sakura, and so that she can't move. Now, Sakura would be passed out unconscious, and this would be due to the fact that she got hit with the Shindori and her power was just basically erupting like overload. Like she couldn't handle the power output of this transformation yet. 1 month is not enough training for a transformation like that. Just saying. Anyway, so Sakura would be out cold. And Sasuke would be declared the winner. Now Sasuke would fall to his knee and clutch his eyes as his eyes are in heavy pain and his vision was seeming to get just a little tad blurry. As using the Mangekyo Sharingan, the user will suffer from eternal blindness. but Sasuke didn't use it that much. I mean, he was straining his eyes a lot just to pull out that whole Susanoo thing, but Sasuke just had a tiny blindness status effect. Effect. Anyway, so as Sasuke is sprawled to the one knee and he clutching his eyes, he ends up passing out too, but Sasuke was declared the winner. Now we have the final battle of the tuning exams, as the rest of the battles went the same way they did in canon, and that's this Goku versus Neji. And that much really, and nothing really went crazy with that. I mean, Goku, basically, Neji was it's like a genius at that, but Goku's raw power, his raw physical strength was nothing to be like trifled with. Neji just couldn't keep up with. I mean, Neji tried hitting Goku with a bunch of chakra, 64 palms, 8 trigrams, 64 palms, a bunch of tactics to hit Goku with, but nothing would work. I mean, nothing would work. Goku doesn't have chakra, he has ki. So it's like he was looking at Neji and saying, what are you doing? As he punches Neji straight into a wall. Now Neji comes charging back and Goku basically dodging each and every one of Neji's attacks, each and every one of Neji's hits, and Goku smiles and hits Neji up into the air and hammer fists him down to the ground. Now Goku floats back down and Neji just can't move. Neji's looking at Goku saying, it's your destiny to beat me. And Goku was saying, what's this destiny crap? I don't know what that means. You just need to train more. I mean, you say that destiny made you into a prodigy, but you didn't beat me. You basically lost. But there's always next time. I look forward to fighting you again, Neji. And Goku would just trail away saying, I won. And this would be the end of the tuning exam, well, the final part of the tuning exam, but all of a sudden, Gaara would be coming busting out of the medic room, and he would jump literally over the tuning, sorry, I had to swallow that. He would jump over the tuning wall, and this would be the start of the Konoha Crush, as the feathers would start to float from the sky, and everyone would seem to be put to sleep. Now, this is where Sakura and Sasuke would be in the infirmary. They would be out cold, so it wouldn't be too much that they can do because they did go all out in their body. And Sakura is not waking up from the damage that she just received, like basically to her power doing that to her body, and basically Sasuke hitting her. And Sasuke also not waking up to it due to his overuse of the Mangekyo Sharingan and the scuffle that he had to endure with Sakura. So yeah, that changes about this arc that Sakura and Sasuke is not going to be a part of it. Anyway, so as the Konoha Crush thing is happening, Kakashi comes to wake Goku, well, not Goku. He wakes Naruto up from the Genjutsu, and this is where Goku's just basically looking around. This has no effect over him. I mean, basically Goku's just looking at these feathers and saying, it's raining feathers. It's really raining feathers. No one's gonna believe me, but it's raining feathers. And this is what Shikamaru would just tell Goku, that it's a Genjutsu. We are under attack. Well, we are under attack. And Goku would start to look around as a whole bunch of snakes just erupt in the village and starts causing mass destruction. And this is where Orochimaru would reveal himself, and the whole battle with the third Hokage would commence. Now, the third Hokage would be put up these, not the third Hokage, the fourth sound ninja would trap Orochimaru into the whole battlefield where he was on the top of the monument, the top of the Hokage area, and they would have this 4 walls and trap him in there. Now, Kakashi would tell Goku and Naruto to follow behind the Gaara kid, and they would do so. But that's going to be in another part for you guys. I had to basically make this part more beefy because it's been gone for a long while. But if you guys still like it, I'm not going to make a like goal for this video. Whichever like goal you reach, I will basically put another video out for this series. Sorry it took so long. I have to apologize for that. But anyway, the next episode for what I'm doing is what if Naruto was like Itachi. Basically, I'm saying what if Naruto was born like a prodigy like Itachi. So that would make him a Uchiha by default, but I'm just going to basically up his skills. And that would be something like that, but I'm basically putting it as what if Naruto was a powerhouse like Itachi. Anyway, so without any further ado, you guys have a good day, a good night, and plus ultra. Good night, guys.